Hey, welcome back to part 2 of our water pump series and thermostat replacement on our F-150 5.4 liter V8 TRITON. In the previous segment, I said I was going to take the belt and I was going to take the pulley, but my cameraman let me know that there's a big giant hose in the way. Now, I will say, if you're not having any hose issues, you don't need to replace the hose to do the water pump. There's plenty of room here, but for the sake of the video, we're going to remove the upper hose now. The thing about this job, you can kind of do it in a couple different orders. You know, yeah, you got to get the coolant out. Yes, you got to get the fan off. Yes, you got to get some stuff out of the way. But you can do that in any order that you want. Generally, I start with getting the coolant out first because of the fact it's the part that takes the longest. Next to probably getting this water pump off. Alright, for this next part, if you have the original spring clamps like this truck does, you need a set of these. You can get this tool at O'Reilly's for 15 bucks. Don't try to do it with a vice grip. This is a very dangerous part of this job. You can get your fingers caught in here if the pliers slip or whatever method you use if you're not using the correct tool. And even with the correct tool, these can still be difficult to get off. I don't recommend replacing these with just traditional hose clamps. You'll be checking this thing every month and having to tighten that clamp up if you don't use the original spring clasp. So be sure to reuse them, get the right tool, do the job right once the first time. Even this tool is a little interesting. We call it everything but pliers, but this is really what they're for. Alright, so take the clasp all the way back.
Now he's tugging it.
Tug, tug, tug.
And it's off.
And it's off. Now I'm also going to take it off the radiator so we can have plenty of clearance so you guys can get a great shot. I will say they use some pretty big hoses on this truck. I think these might actually be bigger than my 5.7 hoses.
For your Chevy?
Yep.
Yikes.
Yep. Now you want to be careful here so you don't break your radiator. It is plastic.
Why is it plastic?
Well, they're actually more efficient than copper radiators.
Oh, ew. Oh, just a shot of that. I don't know if I can get this. But, it's leaking something.
Alright, so I want to show you something here. This is what happens when you don't change your antifreeze every 5 years or 150,000 miles, according to the Ford owner's manual I read the other night. I mean, this isn't bad. I've seen much worse, but eventually this will become a seep because the hose will start to rot. So this is one thing that if you are doing this job, you may think about changing your hoses while you're at it. Just start fresh, especially if you don't have any overheating concerns going on.
I think I got it.
Alright, you can try the shock technique where you basically take a hammer and bang this monkey wrench, pipe wrench. And what I found is if it doesn't go when you swing on it, like this one didn't, what you need to do is you need to take a screwdriver, pry it, so you hold the pulley. So as you see here, I have the screwdriver prying the pulley so the pulley doesn't move, and that way we can just simply spin this off. The problem with the shock technique is, well, you can hit it just right, cause your tool to fall off, and then have it drop on some very expensive parts, which you don't want to do. So to show you how this works, we'll bind it up just like that. That was a big wrench, so there's a lot of leverage on that, and after that, you just spin it off.
I see a thing.
Yep.
You mean like right here?
This right here.
I'm gonna move it. Okay, good.
And we're just going to slowly take it off. I watched a guy in a video just jam this and just rip it off. And well, the problem is you got a radiator and you don't want it just jumping right into the fins and cause you to have to replace a radiator that doesn't need it. So we're going to get this pretty loose.
That's a big bolt.
Yep. And then once we get ready for this to come off, we're going to grab it.
Whew. Yeah.
And watch it fall off.
Well then.
I would like to actually take this out, but there isn't room to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to gently lay it inside here. That way we have room to get to the next thing, which is take the belt off, take the pulley off, and get to the bolts. I actually smell a little bit of oil in there.
Let me move to where the belt is. Where's the belt?
Belt is this right here.
Okay.
And it's not difficult to get off, but you got to use a method. You got to stop this from moving and then go that way towards the passenger side. And that's pretty much that. Now before I take the belt off, I am going to get these loose. These should be 10 mils. What the hose covered up is actually how I bound up this pulley. If you get it just right, you can just use the tensioner to bind it up. Something like that to break the nut loose. That's what I do with most of those. I don't care if it's a Ford or a Dodge, they both use the same. These are the last years that they kept using fans. They started using electric at some point. Bind it up here, crack your nut, you're good to go. I'll do the same thing to get these nuts off. It's a lot easier to do getting these nuts off when the belt's on, but even you're going to see that even with this belt on, it's still going to spin because it is on the non-rib side. It's on the shiny side. Alright, take a 10 mil. So yeah, see how it's still turning?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're locked.
Whoa.
And now we're full.
What did that do? Oh.
Okay, see we're bound up. We'll just loosen them up. We don't need to take them out yet. Okay, we'll do the bottom one. Swing this around.
That wasn't supposed to move.
No, it's going to move. Just got to get it bound back up. Okay. Do that trick every time that you have a fan or pulley to get off and it won't fight you quite so bad. It's a little easier when I'm not recording it, but I'm trying to record it for you folks to show you the quick and dirty ways to get these vehicles repaired and back on the road. Alright, next we're going to remove the belt now that we've got the pulley loose.
Okay.
Alright, with a breaker bar or a 1/2 inch wrench, Ford made it easy for you. You see it just goes down. Okay, then come up to the alternator, take your belt, drop it down, get your tool out of the way.
That's easy. Funny, they made it easier than Dodge.
There's a little bit more room on here than a Dodge. A Dodge I gotta get a little creative with. Alright, since this belt's getting replaced, because this is also the original belt, not bad for 115,000 miles. Alright, we're going to take the belt off, take it off the crank, take it off the power steering pump. Okay, now you see right here where I'm kind of stuck.
Okay.
Well, there's an air conditioning compressor underneath. So what I found, you just push it down, take it off the ribs, pull it out.
Spinning.
That's all you do. Alright, so like I said earlier in part 1,
Let's see, there you go.
That is a bad pulley right there. Even the idler or the tensioner pulley is not too bad, but this one, if you have that noise, replace it. We're not going to do that now. We're going to do that after we get everything else done. But this was one concern I did have. It sounds a little crunchy.
Alright, one now.
Well, next, we're going to pull the water pump pulley off. Alright, now that you broke them loose, it's just simply a matter of removing the bolts.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little tricky working with the fan clutch there, but it beats having to pull the fan shroud, at least on this model.
I think it'll fall off.
I actually watched some videos on doing this water pump, and I got a kick out of a couple guys. There's guys that literally take the radiator out. And yeah, it gives you a lot of room, but this is an automatic transmission model, which means you also have tranny fluid to deal with. And to me, it's not worth it when there's a lot of room here. When you work on cars that are tight, especially front wheel drive cars, you appreciate the room they do give you. Alright, so now that all the bolts are removed, take your pulley off.
Easy enough.
And now we got access to the water pump. Alright, at this point, you're just down to 4 bolts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crack them loose. And then there's one underneath.
Is that hard to get?
No, this is actually pretty nice.
Nicer than most.
Well, a lot of newer water pumps are belt driven or chain driven, so it means doing a timing chain job just to do a water pump job. This one's kind of the old school method. The only thing that's funny about this pump, it doesn't use a gasket, it uses an O-ring.
Okay.
Alright, so you're taking out 4 of these.
And what are those?
These are the water pump bolts. Well, it's called water pump block.
I'm surprised at how much space this Ford has.
Yeah, it's not the tightest thing I've worked on.
I figured it out.
You know, this bottom one, it's a little interesting to get to, but not too bad. Alright, so remove your bottom bolt. Now these pumps are going to come off one or two ways, either really easy or really frickin' hard.
What is this going to be?
Being the original, I'm going to go with hard.
You never know. You never know, they could be really easy.
Nope.
It's not easy?
Well, first we're going to try a rubber mallet.
Oh, not that again. Beating it like that's not going to help it.
Nope. This is the hard one.
And yet I still can't see it.
Well, you're not missing much.
That's sad.
You're just missing one hell of a fight, that's all.
Yeah, well, I just...
Hey, look at that.
What?
Well, let me get a camera.
Well, here, you want this one?
As you can see there, we finally made a little headway. I'm kind of shocked it took that much force to get that off. Well, you know, they say Ford tough for a reason. Now we gotta come to this side and give it some love.
Ford tough.
Ford tough. The flashlight doesn't give up.
Yeah, can't handle Ford.
Alright, so next we're gonna bang there. Then we're gonna get this out. I'm not gonna be one of those channels that are just gonna show, hey, it's coming off. It's a battle. It took some big tools to get there, but we're getting there. Alright, let's get this thing off.
Well then. Still not coming out. I wonder why.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder why too.
Hey Ford, you're supposed to work.
It's not supposed to be this difficult to pull a water pump.
No. Considering you almost broke this off. This is what he's doing right here. He's just shoving something down there.
Well, I can tell you that we have rust on an O-ring.
Oh yay.
That is a new one. Well, did not expect that.
Want me to try to get it?
No, we'll see it when we get it off. Ah,
Wait, is it popping off? Let me see. Let me get in there. This is a good angle. Look at that, I'm looking right at it.
I'm not gonna lie to you folks, I've spent almost an hour trying to get this damn pump off.
Yeah, so he has a screwdriver right here. Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah, I did not want that to happen.
Whoa! Okay, see, where's the hole? Let me see your finger.
I still have my digits.
Okay, look at that. I'm getting a close shot up of it. If I can.
Wow.
It just came right off everything.
I did not want it to come off like that.
Yeah, alright, let me zoom back out. Well.
Oh. Huh.
What?
See that right there?
Yeah, what about it?
That's rust.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
You should have looped it up.
It rusted all the way around.
Wow, that is... Wow. That's why it was so hard to come off. So that it is easy. It's just not easy when it's rusted.
No, I got the hard one. That's what happened. I got the hard one.
Yeah, so folks, we didn't realize it was rusted.
Wow. This sucker's going on my wall. I'm keeping it. This is Ford Tough right here.
Yeah, rust.
Rust Tough.
Ford Rust.
Customer just got charged an extra $60 for an hour.
Yeah.
I gotta say, that's we got a little rusting going on, so we're gonna have to look into that because this has had nothing but Ford coolant.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh wait, no, didn't he tell us? Didn't
well, here's the thing. This coolant should have been serviced once already.
Yeah.
Even at the best of 10 years, 150,000 miles, well, this is 18 years and 115,000 miles.
True.
And not that this pump's making any weird noises, but at the end of the day, if you didn't change this pump at this point, imagine another 20 or 30,000 miles. You know, we might be looking at a front cover problem. And as it is, I'm going to have to really investigate and make sure that we don't have any issues with our casting. So we're going to look at that real quick. We'll be back with you here in about 5 minutes. Well, it'll be 1 second editing time, but I'll be back with you in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And there it goes.
Here, I'm going to show you some high-def pictures, but where the sealing surface is, that has to be cleaned really good, or that O-ring will not seal. Alright folks, you can see we got some rust in there, and that's what made this thing so hard to come off. And if you open up your water pump and find this going on, not so much worried about the rust in the back, that's whatever. What I am worried about, and I'll put an arrow up now, is where the sealing surface is. And the thing being, and the camera, you know, really doesn't do it justice, is we have to go all the way around this housing with some 1000 grit and get this thing back to factory clean. or your O-ring will not seal, therefore negating the purpose of putting a water pump on. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. This has been one of the hardest water pumps I've ever had to take off. It's not that the job's hard, that's not the problem, but once you get rusting going on and the water pump becomes one with the cover, that's where the fight is. And that's just half the fight. The other half is getting this thing to seal back up so it doesn't leak. You got to remember, this thing's under 15, 16 pounds per square inch once it's hot. And so with that, I'm going to show you how we're going to get this just about factory smooth again without taking any metal off, but we will get it clean. We're going to use wet sandpaper, and you got to make sure you clean it up really good after you're done so you don't get any junk in your pump. Now I do like this design because it sucks in water here and then it blows it back into the cover, therefore it goes through the rest of the engine. And it's not a bad design, but the thing is, if you don't service this on, Ford's schedule, whichever it is, you're going to have this issue, and then when you go try to take a pump off, you may be into it for a cover. And that's what we're going to try to avoid here. I mean, this engine doesn't have a lot of miles, but none the same, it's still 18 years old. So I got all my stuff I need to clean, and then we're going to basically wet sand and clean, and clean some more. Cleanliness is next to godliness when you're doing water pumps.